We'll call the meeting to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. We have the good news report to start us off. Deanne?
Not just one good news report, but in keeping with all the great news going on in the district, we have two. So I will invite some friends to come forward with me here, and we will get started with the first portion. For more than 30 years now, hundreds of parent volunteers have stepped up to raise funds to support our activities at 3 high schools. Recently, of course, adding the 4th high school through something we call President's Bowl. Since 1991, actually, a nonprofit corporation has been established and has been supporting our students, coaches, and activities, primarily with an annual football game, pairing matchups of Mount Rushmore proportions between the presidents bearing the school's names, those Washington, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and now Jefferson, of course. And in 2023, a new event was added, a basketball game. And so they continue to grow fundraising efforts and continue to seek out the support of our community in our public schools. So Chris Maxwell is assisting in our President's Bowl efforts. Cassie Markman is this year's current president, is that right? Yeah, exciting. So I'm going to have them step to this podium, and we're just going to do a little Q&A with them so that you can be informed of the things that are happening with President's Bowl. First of all, tell us a little bit about what's happening right now in the planning and preparation of President's Bowl.
Perfect, and thank you for having us. So this is really planning and kickoff time. So, you know, the fall is when the activities are happening. So that's when most people are seeing the fall and the winter now, the football and the basketball activities. But this is when we're actually, the fundraising pieces are kicking off, the committee. So the committee is made up of representatives from all of the different schools. All the athletic directors are part of the committee as well. Casey Miley and others are a part of it also. And so this is that push of the fundraising efforts and reaching back out to the wonderful support from the community, but also all the planning by the committee. So every school breaks off into committees and they take on certain efforts. You know, one's in charge of the tailgating and the security and everything in those spaces. One group handles the social media and the website and all of the PR related things, just all the activities that go on.
And it literally takes hundreds.
It does.
Yeah, Cassie, tell us a little bit about how did you land the presidency of this group? And why?
I was the treasurer for Roosevelt for the last 2 years, and Mr. Moore and our president on our booster club have seen how much I've done for our football team and for our school as it is, and said that would be a great position for this, and I said yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
It benefits our boys and our school and our kids, and all the fundage that comes back to Roosevelt benefits every child.
Right. So you have, you were telling me the money is divided up. I mean, we're not just talking sports here. We're talking all booster club activities. So this is music, drama, best buddies, a variety of activities.
Yep. And at Roosevelt, we provide We Are One shirts for every student in that school. So the booster club and a good sponsor of ours in the community provide a t-shirt for every single kid in that school, so they don't have to buy a t-shirt if they don't have the fundage for it. So that President's Bowl money helps even children that aren't in sports or athletics or anything too outside of extracurricular. We do a lot for inside the school with our booster club money that is with our President's Bowl as well. And I know the other schools do that as well.
Sure.
So we really rely a lot on this President's Bowl to help our students.
Absolutely. And that basketball game is one example of how you're sort of growing the opportunities available for fundraising.
Yeah, and the goal is to have all of the different activities involved, and they are involved with all of the fundraising. We've talked about the basketball event was the first time last year that we have done that. We learned a lot, and we'll continue with that. And the goal is, I know we've had cheer camps in the past. We do a youth basketball tournament, and we really have a vision of growing and expanding all of those into different activities and different ways to get all of the district and as many students involved as possible.
And we're near reaching a milestone of fundraising. I think I saw on the website. Do you have a number you want to talk about?
Well,
how much you've raised over all
yeah,
the years?
well, so this year, this last year we gave away $35,000 to each school. The year before was $31,500. So each year we're just looking to continue to build and grow that, and all these activities have really allowed us to do that.
Awesome. And they are approaching about $2 million in the funds they've raised. How can people support President's Bowl?
Yeah, well, I would say two key ways are please give and support our efforts. There'll be our regular letters and outreach and emails that will be going out. But then buy tickets. That really is a big part of the effort. Buy tickets and come to the events. These really are about creating great atmosphere and environment for the kids and having the community come together. And the final piece is we always need a lot of volunteers.
Do you want to make a plug for the volunteers?
The other thing too, there is a lot of students in our community that can't afford a ticket. So there is an option to purchase tickets for students. So if, say you want to donate 200 tickets to a particular school, you can reach out to each school on their Go Bound site and buy tickets for students.
Yeah.
It's a big thing in Roosevelt that we want all of our students to be able to go, but there is a good percentage citywide that students aren't able to go. So
Yep.
I urge people, if they want to have a donation to help
Yeah.
students.
That's a great option.
I was also going to add on that front, we do provide discounted tickets for the students as the school year starts. So there's a half off kind of days that are at the school. And so trying to get as many kids the opportunity to get there, and also those, if we can have some ticket angels be a part of the process, wonderful.
Well, we know it's a lot of work, and thank you for stepping up to take leadership in that, and for
Yeah.
all of the ways you're reaching out into the community
Yeah,
as
and
well.
thank you from us. The school district is such a wonderful partner. All the facilities, all the planning, the athletic directors, and all of their work, and all of it. It is a true partnership.
Awesome, and they do great work. Board, do you have any questions or anything you'd like to say?
No, I would just add thank you. I remember the President's Bowl when I was a student at Roosevelt High School a few years ago. It was fun then, and it's fun now, and it's really grown into something that's really more of like a community event. Even if you don't have somebody that's playing or performing at halftime or whatever, it's still a great time to just come out and be a part of our community. So I'm also going to put a plug in. I'm guessing if there were any business sponsors, you guys would be more than happy to entertain
Yes,
those
please.
offers as
Yeah.
well. So there's
Any and
lots of
all.
ways to get involved as an individual, as a family, or even as a business sponsor. So every dollar really does make a difference.
presidentsbowl.com. You can check it out, become
There
a
you go.
sponsor, and get involved.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Our
Thank you.
game is set September 14th, so if you guys don't have your calendars, come out and
September 14th.
September
Perfect.
14th.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Dr. Staben will take it from here.
Every now and then, I get to do the good news report. What, maybe once a year, I think, I get the mic. Well, this one is a unique continuation, kind of some things that we have heard and thought about before. And we have some really good news to report as a result of kind of the thinking and collaboration that has taken place in the interim. So I'm going to give just a little bit of an overview of kind of how this has come to be, and then I'm going to invite some speakers up to help me with the good news report. And so if you remember, a few months ago, we had some of our same friends visit us because there's a special place that is referred to as 9th and Grange. And this is also an area that came to be known as Lincoln Park. And there was some concern that that space was maybe going to be developed into something other than what it has been for that neighborhood for many years. Which has been a space that's provided somewhat of a green space, maybe where people don't have availability with a yard or other places to go, and it's become a beloved area for them. At the same time, this is also a district property that once was home to a school and then was cleared off, and as we know, as the city continues to grow, that undeveloped space becomes an important asset that may become important to the district in future years. And so it was important to the board and to our district leaders that we retain ownership of that. And so we were kind of at a point where we said, well, we're not selling it. The neighborhood was interested in doing something. The city has some other priorities, and so this wasn't emerging as a priority. So through some additional thinking and conversations, right about at the right time, I happened to find a example of a great concept in another part of the world even. And when I saw it, I thought, wow, this might be just the right thing for how we can all come together and maybe make this work for everybody. So what we're going to talk a little bit about in the next few minutes is just the partnership that we have developed around this unique space moving forward. And so we're going to be collaborating to do enhancements, things that will add value to this space, add value to the neighborhood while still retaining a space that at some point could be redeveloped or maybe change purposes with the school district in the future. But in the meantime, we have a great partnership with our city parks and recs. They're part of this, our neighborhood partners, and we have some anonymous donors who are already interested in providing some financial help depending on what those enhancements become. We have some folks who are willing to help us just with the expertise, and then our school district and our neighborhood schools, and I'll talk just a little bit about that because that's one of the items that I think is kind of the best part of this outcome. So some of the themes that underlie the work that we've been doing now to think about this in collaboration with this entire group is that we know that this is a space that is a place for all ages to enjoy together, and that's been a deeply held value. We know that we want a place that's safe and enjoyable, and if we are opportunistic and strategic, we can also involve our students in some of the thinking and planning around this. We know that we also want it to be adaptable. We know that when these types of spaces are close to schools, it can be used for outdoor learning, which is a really big emerging theme in our district. And we also think there are some really unique intergenerational opportunities available with the existing community garden spaces, and our neighborhood friends will talk, I'm sure, a little bit about that. We also think that it's important that we kind of revision maybe something that's vacant or underused and bring enhancements to the whole community. Please notice my picture that might go along with the flexible theme there. Yeah, thank you. And the gardening, really looking at some great ways that we can partner with what's already happening in that space. We also think there are some things we can do for more playable spaces and enhancing some things where our families want to spend time together for maybe a little longer. And then just looking at how can we just use the space better? What are some other ideas that our neighborhood friends have for what we could do to make it even better than it already is? And so the student voice is part of what we are adding to this. And we just happen to have the perfect teacher at Axtell Park. And she is here tonight. Raise your hand, Risa. This is Risa Jungling. And she already is known for her plants and her outdoor education that she does with our students, and she is a willing partner and is already really excited about being kind of the missing link that we've added to this partnership. And so Councilman Nitzert is here. He was part of the city work around this, the mayor, and we all just had some really good conversations that have led to this. And so shared ownership involving our kids to be connected with the neighborhood and to maybe give them a way to connect with people in a new way for how they contribute, how they are part of things, and how they can get a greater sense of belonging. And I don't want to go to my last slide, and I think the next one is the last slide. And so that's kind of where we are. We're really excited about this. And so I'm going to call up the following people, and they're going to expand on this just a little bit. Greg Nitzert, Jennifer Johnson-Keckler, Sarah Hansen, Bob Drzinka, Mary Glensky, and Laura Rohde are all going to tell you a little bit more from our neighborhood partnership perspective.
Good evening, school board. Greg Nitzert, former city councilor and proud father of a Roosevelt High School student, just a few weeks off the council. I'm really grateful to the Sioux Falls School District and the school board, and especially Superintendent Stavum for making this opportunity possible. Thank you for all of your advocacy and the discussions. The district could have easily just said no and just left it at that. But instead, the superintendent proposed the idea that the school district and the neighborhood work together to do this project. And it's something that I think will benefit children, families, all generations, and the students in the district. I attended the first meeting, and what I was really impressed about was Dr. Stavum brought this forward, and she was excited about it. I mean, she was really pumped. This isn't something that was just a grudging, hey, we'll give you something. This is something that she's really, really engaged in. And it was really gratifying to witness that. Underserved neighborhoods need opportunities like this for play and recreation. They have such small yards. They just don't have that space. And this is just something that can be a win-win for everybody. And so I think it's just great for everybody that's involved. It's going to be great to see this partnership as it goes forward, and I'm going to be excited to see what happens from it. And once again, thank you for making this opportunity possible. It's really going to make a huge, huge difference. We make big differences with little things, not just big buildings, but little things like this where we just work together and we can change lives. So it's really exciting. Thank you.
When I first moved to Sioux Falls in 1965, people from our neighborhood had an elementary school at Lincoln, they had a middle school at Axtell Park, and they had Washington High School downtown. Obviously, there have been a few changes since then. Certainly, the city has benefited from the Washington Pavilion. I think that there are other benefits that have come up from changes of program at Axtell Park. And I think that we now are embarking on a newer change that will benefit the whole neighborhood and is definitely appreciated. So just wanted to say thank you for the fact that we're going to be having more utilization of a space that's been a vacant lot for some time, except for the gardens that are at the top of the hill. Hope to save space for the kites that we used to fly there. So put the trees on the side, and then they won't be a problem. But thank you. It is appreciated.
Common spaces like the green space at 9th and Grange go towards a lot towards community building. Common spaces where people can civically and civilly get together and exercise their duties as citizens of a community are of the utmost importance to making sure that you have a community that functions and works well together. The inner areas of Sioux Falls frequently get overlooked in this, from the standpoint that they're so densely populated without a lot of space for people and children to gather and play. The space at 9th and Grange has been a vital part of this community since the 1800s. In fact, one of the first schools in this town was at the 9th and Grange space, and it was designed by Wallace Dow, who was the most significant architect in sort of our town's history. That building is no longer there, but we still have the space. And I thank the superintendent, I thank the board, I thank the city for continuing to make the space available for children, for adults, for the entire community to work together and to make a space that truly serves the entire population. Thank you very much.
Like Greg Neisert said, I too was at the first meeting, and Superintendent Staven, you showed great leadership, and you've been at all the following meetings. You've put a ton of time into this. Thank you. It means a lot to our neighborhoods. We live in a very densely populated neighborhood with a lot of children, a lot of families, and everyone loves this space, and now they get to continue to enjoy it. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Hansen. I've had 2 Lincoln grads, and I have 2 boys that'll be at Patrick this fall. And I also have those same 2 boys that spend a lot of time at the green space. So this has been a top priority for my family. And I am super excited to have been a part of this journey from the beginning. And now to see it come to fruition in a committee that's coming together in a most unique partnership, I would say, with school district leadership, with also teachers from the district, with folks from our neighborhood, and people from the city. You're pretty much getting all aspects coming together to promote this green space that's so important to us. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what can be accomplished there. Might not seem like a big space in terms of real estate, but it's big in our community. And I'm really excited for what the superintendent has spearheaded here. I'm happy to be able to work with her as our neighbors have already put forth a myriad of ideas that they would like to see. And it'll be exciting to see which of those can be utilized and really put forth and make our community all the more enjoyable. Not only just garden and being able to provide for folks, not only working and coming together, but also a place to play. We talked also with our neighbors about what kind of a name we want to bring to this green space, and one that kind of percolated to the top and made the most sense was Lincoln Commons. And it's referred to as a space where surrounding neighborhoods can come together and enjoy the natural resources that are there. And I don't think anything else quite epitomizes the space at 9th and Grange quite like a commons, because it is really where we can come together as one and enjoy that space. So I want to be able to thank the superintendent for her leadership in this, for the board in their support in this, and the other acting partners that we have going forward on our steering committee. And with that, I will turn it back over to the superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank all of them. It's been a real joy so far to meet and to start envisioning this. And so from here to forward, we will refer to this as Lincoln Commons, where our focus will be on honoring the past, enjoying the present, and preserving for the future. So thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thank you all. I know Dr. Staven has been really excited about this project, so it's fun to see some of the ideas and people who have participated. And we can all probably agree that our kids need to be outside playing more. So what a great opportunity for them to have that designated space. So thank you all for coming tonight.
I told them they could leave too.
We're used to that. We're used to that. All right. Can I please get a motion and a second for approval of the minutes for the meeting held on May 13th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. We have one person who wishes to address the school board on a non-agenda item. Somebody want time for me? Good. So Amy, if you want to come forward and just tell us your name and address, please, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Oh, Amy, I turned it off. So I put the green button.
I think I got it. Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Amy Bruner, and I'm here today to address the recent U.S. Department of Education proposed changes to Title IX regulations which may have a significant implication for our school district. As a concerned parent within the community, I'd like to understand how the Sioux Falls School District intends to address these developments. The Title IX rule change expands the definition of sex discrimination to include various factors such as sex stereotypes, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Furthermore, it mandates school policy changes related to access to facilities, due process protections for students accused of sexual misconduct, and the use of preferred pronouns by teachers and students. While these changes are slated to take effect on August 1 of 2024, it's important to note that there are legal challenges filed across the nation against the changes, including requests for preliminary injunctions, which may delay the implementation of the rules for some time. A May 8th press release from Governor Kristi Noem's office confirmed that South Dakota has joined one of the lawsuits against the United States Department of Education. In the letter dated May 2nd, South Dakota Department of Education Secretary Dr. Joe Graves advised South Dakota school districts not to comply with the revised Title IX rule or change their policy pending this legal challenge. The letter says, and I quote, "The South Dakota Department of Education is concerned about these changes for several reasons. Notably, this places Title IX regulations in direct opposition to state law. Some provisions impinge upon First Amendment rights, due process guarantees, and the rights of parents as the first and primary educators of their children. Definitions of sex-based harassment have been expanded to include gender identity due to misapplication of a United States Supreme Court opinion, and funding your district relies on is now threatened to ensure compliance," unquote. Dr. Graves ends the letter by asking that South Dakota school districts refrain from changing and implementing policies to reflect these rules. As a parent, I'm deeply concerned about the potential implications of these changes on women and girls, our constitutional protections, and fundamental parental rights. It is essential that parents are fully informed and involved in decisions that affect their children's schooling experience. As such, I would appreciate any information that you can provide regarding how Title IX has been handled within our school district up to this point. In addition, I would like to ask what changes have been proposed or may be considered by the district in response to the proposed rule change. Transparency and open communication are crucial in addressing these issues. I urge the school board to closely monitor these developments and consider the potential impact on our students, staff, and educational programs. It's crucial to ensure that any changes made to school policies are transparent, respectful of parental rights, and in the best interest of all students. And tonight, after we get done, I'll forward you a copy of my talking notes with my email. And if I could get some response on that, I would really appreciate what you all are considering doing going forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
You want me to turn it off?
You would leave it on there. Okay, we have nobody wishing to address us on any agenda items. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. We do not have any conflicts of interest this evening. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda 9A through H, please?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is approved. The supplemental consent agenda, A1 and 2. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes with one abstention from myself. And the reports of the superintendent.
Yep, tonight, two things. The first one is a really important part of our year, and one that both Human Resources as well as Dr. Boyson and her staff give a lot of time and attention to, and really it happens all through the year, but then we also do kind of an intentional end of the year thing because we know that part of our district priorities is recruiting and retaining, and this is a big part of both recruitment, because as we bring people to our district, we talk about the benefits that we have with many of the things that Dr. Boyson will cover, but then we also go back around and say, did those things that we provided to you work, and does that cause you to want to stay and continue teaching in our district? And so she'll provide an overview of kind of what that looks like now at the end of the year.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Tonight, as Dr. Stalem said, I'm here to
give you an update on the New Hire Academy, onboarding new teachers, and then the feedback that we gather at the end of the year. And that falls in the district priority areas of academic success and staff excellence, really making sure that we prioritize recruiting and retention for educators to make sure that we maintain that consistency of in Sioux Falls and have great educators in all our classrooms. The cornerstone of our efforts is the New Hire Academy, and the New Hire Academy is a comprehensive program designed to support and empower new teachers as they begin their career in the Sioux Falls School District. That new hire experience starts with the HR department. Throughout the summer, they offer multiple opportunities, so it fits the new hire's schedule to come in. They meet with them, they get some onboarding done. This year, they'll pick up their technology device at that meeting. So that way, when they start with us in August at that new hire session, that new hire kickoff, it's August 12th this year, that they're ready to go and jump right in. And that New Hire Academy continues throughout the school year and with after-school sessions to support the teachers with different curricular areas, the curriculum that they specialize in. We have effective teaching strategies, student engagements, and sessions, our Kagan strategies. Technology is a big piece. How do we help them with Canvas, with our view boards, the audio enhancement systems, and everything else that supports great teaching and learning. And then our diverse learnings for special education, EL, gifted, all of the other people to help support. And then self-care. How do they take care of themselves as they're going through the year? And throughout that new academy, we equip them with the tools and the knowledge they need to excel and foster a strong sense of community within our district. And we don't stop there. Approximately April, Becky Dorman and I invite the new hires to come in, and we just want to have a conversation with them. And it's a great time for us to talk to them, ask questions, take their feedback, what was great, what could we do better next year, and then really have that great listening to be able to move forward. And so during that time, we support the teachers, but we provide them that opportunity to give us that feedback. So one question we ask is, what supports benefited you as a new teacher in the Sioux Falls School District? And we heard that relationships is a big one, and it's relationships with other teachers across the district. And they know coming into the Sioux Falls School District, and they're a part of that New Hire Academy, they might get to know, if I'm a middle school math teacher, other middle school math teachers across the district, and they have something in common because they both started at the same time. Elementary, same thing. High school, same thing. And we see cohorts of teachers that become lifelong friends, and they remain friends across the district, but throughout their career. And so that was one of them. And resources, they appreciate the resources that are available to them, whether it's the technology resources, or maybe it's somebody that can answer questions with specialized behavior or special education, IEP paperwork, all of those different resources that they didn't have access to in another district. And then we have scheduled time with the instructional coach. They valued that time with the coach, whether it's building curriculum, co-teaching, co-planning, just someone to listen. You know, we say that coach is the mentor, their support, and then also a great listening ear. And classroom observations, they wanted more. We give them the opportunity to go out and observe another classroom with that instructional coach. And so that was they just learned so much from seeing another person teach and being in that environment, but then having those conversations of what they saw and maybe what they can implement within their new classroom. What advice would you give to future teachers? Making sure that you value those relationships with veteran teachers and not hesitating to ask questions. And next one, seek out opportunities. Make sure that you have confidence in your ideas and ability to seek out opportunities for observation and learning. And then reminder to trust colleagues and yourself and embrace those interactions with veteran teachers, new teachers, and also the administrators. They're there to help and support you. And once they know that if we come in, walk into your classroom, we're there just really to see what the kids are doing, but then how can we help support them too? And then what do you most value? What was most valuable professional learning? The positive experiences with the curriculum, the resource sharing, and the coaching cycles. And a coaching cycle is when we talk about and plan an area that you want to work on. Maybe it's in the area of writing, so we talk about it, and then I coach you through that. We watch you, we observe, we see the growth that students make, and it's really about the growth of the students. And so we have the outcomes, and that was one of the things that was they're positive, and then co-planning and co-teaching. You know, so let's plan a lesson, you teach, I teach, you watch, I watch. So they really valued those things because that helped them to grow as a teacher. And then what surprised you the most about the year? And it was witnessing the significant growth of the students. And so think about your first year teaching and realizing how much growth those kiddos are going to have from the beginning to the end, and just the excitement that they see in their students. And then the variety of needs from everything from early childhood all the way up to plus 21 of just those varied needs, and then the different support with bilingual students and families and the support that they receive on the ability to communicate with those families. So great things happening in the Sioux Falls School District. I have some fun pictures here, pictures of collaboration, pictures of coaching, co-teaching, and just student interactions at all levels. And then we always end the year with a celebration because we start with a new hire event at Jefferson and we end, and this was a new hire celebration where they're sharing stories and talking and celebrating, and it really takes them out of the school setting, so that way they can say, yes, I want to come back. Everything was donated, but then how can we come back and I'm appreciated for what I do? We want them to come back the second year. It's a big piece of recruiting and retention. So with that, we're committed to cultivating and retaining outstanding educators. The new Higher Academy fosters community among new staff while supporting professional growth. We value the feedback from our new teachers and remain dedicated to gathering their insights to ensure we are meeting the needs of our newest educators. And with that, I will stand by for any questions and ask you to acknowledge the report.
Anybody have any comments or questions? I'm assuming you got some feedback on things that could be better. Do you remember anything specifically that maybe they said they would like more of or didn't work as well as they would have liked it or expected it to?
Yeah.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, they did, of course, like I said, the one thing, can we go out and visit the classroom more?
Sure.
And more time to collaborate with others, you know, because the new hire, all those events are after school, but that's intentional. Because we can have all there at that point and we can't just pull a select few. And then, Becky, do you remember any other?
Yeah. I think time is such a challenge with in your normal kind of class day, and then by the time it's over, like you're tired and you have stuff to do for the next day. So then to think about having to give up more of that time is a challenge for everybody, no matter what your job is.
Right.
But for teachers who are with, 20 to 30 people all day long to try to kind of refocus. So I can see how that would be a challenge that's really hard to overcome.
And they really valued the time, again, with teachers from across the district because I learn from you just by your experiences at your building are different than mine. Just the way it is or grade levels too.
Yeah, and I think even with technology the way it is, you can maybe save on some transportation time or things like that and do more remote or virtual types of learning that, again, the time factor of at least making it more efficient than before. But yeah, great. How many people are in the academy? All of them, right? So
yep, all new hires. So we have 100, typically 150 to 175 new hires. And we say new hire because I could be a 5-year teacher coming in from someplace else, and they're included in that too, because that way they get to know the Sioux Falls School District, other staff, and how we support them.
Awesome.
I love the end of the year event. I mean, I feel like that's something new. I don't know if we've been doing that for a
It
while.
is new.
But
It is new.
I think what
Yes.
a great way to kind of come back together again and reflect on the first year and just,
And
Celebrate that you made it.
yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Nice. All right, can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the new hire onboarding and first year reflections report, please?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. And
Next is Mr. Viegt with our 2025 opt-out that he will go through with the board.
Thank you. So this goes back to, we're following the plan that was developed in 2019 when we called the Finance Action Network. I think the first time we met with them was in 2006, maybe, and then around 2011 or 12. Then we recalled another group, and a lot of these people were on from the beginning. So some are new, but here's who is on that. They're business folks, and they're financially inclined. So Sarah Anderson from Schoenemann's was on, Jason Ball from the Chamber, Keith Severson, and from the audit firm of Eide Bailey, Bob Timian, he was CFO for Ramcota. Since then, he's been the president, I think, of Ramcota too. But Becky Whitrock from Geotech were on there, along with Dr. Maher, Doug Morrison, and myself. And so we met and we did what the group always does. We review our financials, the district financials, compare ourselves to other school districts in the state and others nationally. And then they come up with some recommendations for the board, and we've kind of been following those ever since. So this is what, these are some of the conclusions they came up with. I'm not going to read all those, but that the opt-out was crucial to current funding. It was $7.5 million opt-out and was going away in a few years. And it was like, okay, you can't afford a $7.5 million cut to your budget. They also determined that the districts had been fiscally conservative, and we only use the portion of the opt-out that we need. And they suggested a 10-year amount of funding at that time, about $15 million. In opt-out capacity is reasonable to maintain the opt-out, used at a constant 5 or just over 5% of the budget, while also maintaining a 2% contingency for the district. So our fund balance had been in the 7s the year after they met, and that's where we're going to be next year, even with all the opt-out we're doing. So there isn't really any room in your budget to go much further than that. So if something happens where your state gives an 8.6% cut, like it did in 2013 or something like that, you got to have some flexibility, and that's what they're talking about here. And then they also then came up with this opt-out laddering approach. Instead of opting out for $7.5 million, and then after it expires in 10 years, you go again, and it's not guaranteed. So instead of risking $7.5 million in a year, they said start at 1.5 and like ladder it like a CD and go up. You can do it for 10 years, and then the next year inflate it. We've been going up 100,000 a year, which maybe seems like a lot on 1.5 million, but not on 15 million. It's not very much of an increase. So anyway, that was their final recommendation, was to ladder the opt-out instead of we had two big amounts they were looking at, a $7.5 million, which is now gone, and a $5 million one, which we're still in. And they said, get away from that, to do it every year with smaller amounts. So here's what we've done since then. We were utilizing the $5 million opt-out passed in 2017 until it expires at the end of 2027. We've done the annual opt-out, like I just talked about, starting for 2020 up through this year at 1.5 million, and then increasing $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year. So it's at 1.9 million right now. And then for 2024, we built our budget with 11 million we had 11. We opted out for 11 million last year, even though 13.1 was available. That's for the current year we're in. That's going away. And what we recommended through the budget process this year was continue to follow the recommendation of the Finance Action Network and opt out for 2 million. Last year it was 1.9. Opt out for 2 million beginning with taxes payable in 2025 and continuing through 2034. It's a 10-year opt out. And then as part of the budget process, we had in our plan to go up to $11.5 million from 11 in 2025. So that's already built into the budget. That is not anything new as far as this goes. So I just say that this opt-out is to replace that. This opt-out we're doing tonight is part of this laddering approach to replace that $5 million opt-out, which is going off in a few years. So, and we went through this in the budget, but it's always good to remind people of us and our neighbors. There's 11 school districts. We're the third lowest property tax rate on houses, and so that's kind of those are our neighbors in there. So finally, the administrative recommendation is to approve the following resolution. You can read it on there. It is, those words are required they're in state law. So there's no changing things or whatever or correcting the grammar. That's the way it reads in the state. So I'd ask for you to approve the resolution. You have in your materials, and everybody can see on the screen.
Somebody have any questions or comments?
Interesting artwork selected times.
Oh. I used that one before. I just changed the words.
I think my only question would be, it's now been 5 years since the Finance Action Network met, and a lot of things have changed in 5 years. Is there a plan to get a group of people? I mean, some of those people are no longer in Sioux Falls, but is there a planned next date that we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, so what would spur it in the olden days, like 10 years ago, we would bring them together as we saw an opt-out expiring in a couple of years. So we've been using their approach, this ladder approach, just every year, just small opt-outs. So at some time, yeah, you want to bring a group like that together again. Just haven't had the, the key, the accelerant to cause that, because we've just been following what they recommended, and we knew the $5 million one was going off in a few years, but we've been building through that with this laddering approach. So yeah, if that's something the board wishes, that's certainly something we can do. We just haven't had the kick in the pants to do it because we're just laddering our deals, and we don't have a big one coming off that we haven't already planned for.
Right. Yeah, and I think that that's appropriate. I just was thinking sometimes with all of that we've been through with COVID dollars and all, state funding and all that, it might be nice to meet when you don't have to, so that you can have a little bit of clarity and planning and being creative versus feeling like we got to fix this because in 2 years this is going to happen or whatever. So I think that their approach has been very helpful, and we've seen the benefits of doing what we have been doing. So it's not that we're doing anything wrong or need to change. I just think sometimes it's nice to revisit, especially if it's been 5 years, to just get a fresh set of eyes and say, should we continue down this path, or is there a new creative way that we could look at this?
Sure, that's a good idea.
Anything else? Do you want me to read the whole thing?
No, I think no. Okay. I don't think we read these. We have to print it in the paper twice too. So, and you've had it, and it's been out on our website now for over 24 hours. So
okay. With that, then, if there's no further comments, can I get a motion and a second to approve the opt-out resolution?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That is passed. Anything else to come before the board? No? If not, can I get a motion and a second to move into executive session SDCL 1-25-2, parentheses 2?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. We will move into executive session. Thank you.